experiencia cálida, ya sea que los clientes entren en Avondale, Goodyear o Phoenix.
Nosotros como dueños somos el reflejo delante del cliente de cómo tratamos a los empleados. Para nosotros ha sido un papel muy importante poder tratar bien a nuestros empleados para que nos representen bien delante de nuestros clientes.
Ese compromiso también se refleja en los pequeños detalles. En la pared, un espejo recuerda a los clientes: eres más de lo que ves en el espejo. Es un reflejo de la creencia de la empresa del que el café no se trata solo de una taza, sino de elevar a las personas a quienes sirven. Para la familia Reina, la excelencia y la hospitalidad van de la mano.
Yo espero que podamos crecer orgánicamente y también poder seguir contribuyendo a la comunidad, que es lo más importante para nosotros. O sea, poder seguir siendo una fuente de empleos donde podamos ayudar, porque muchos jóvenes trabajan para nosotros, muchos que están yendo a la escuela, a la high school, entonces somos como un puente para ellos, para que ellos puedan continuar sus estudios. Entonces nos orgullece mucho que podamos en cierta manera ayudar a esos jóvenes a lograr sus objetivos a largo plazo.
Y como negocio latino, Reina espera que Colados inspire a la próxima generación de emprendedores.
Sí se puede lograr el éxito, sí se puede obtener lo que deseamos. Claro, hay que pagar un precio, hay un sacrificio por emprender, pero hoy en día, como lo mencioné, hay muchas oportunidades para crecer, hay muchas oportunidades para emprender. Simplemente hay que tocar las puertas adecuadas. Como lo dije al principio, no es fácil, pero tampoco imposible.
Para Colados, el café es más que una bebida, es una conexión con la cultura, con la comunidad y con el futuro de Phoenix.
We all want to get to our destination safely, so be aware of everything happening around you whenever walking, riding, or rolling along our streets. Most pedestrian and bike crashes happen when drivers are turning. Scan the street for wheels and feet when turning or entering intersections.
Up until 1889, the majority of the water that was used by Phoenicians came from the actual original canal that went through town. In 1889, a man named John Gardner started the first city waterworks, which is where we're standing today. Water was delivered to this very spot at Verde Park by a redwood tunnel that extended for 30 miles to the east and the northeast. Part of the city waterworks in 1938 was this pump house. It was built with the intention of being an emergency pump house. Water has always been an important element of thriving in the Valley of the Sun. This pump house represents one of the few remaining structures that show how that water was transported in the early 20th century. And it's a wonderful piece of architecture here in the southwest corner of the Garfield Historic District that we can all continue to enjoy here at Verde Park.
Hispanic Heritage Month is a time to honor culture, celebrate community, and highlight the people making a difference across the city of Phoenix. One of those groups is the Phoenix Hispanic Network, an employee resource group focused on helping city staff grow, connect, and lead.
The Phoenix Hispanic Network, we're an employee resource group that is focused on fostering and supporting the growth of City of Phoenix employees. We offer different networking opportunities and opportunities for growth, just to get to know their community and work together.
Jessica Gutierrez, a Public Works Operations Manager, serves as PHN's Vice President. She says staying involved is about giving back.
I really have a passion for helping City of Phoenix employees grow and really get to know their community. So in this role, I get the opportunity to create events, networking opportunities, and help employees just develop as professionals within the City of Phoenix.
The network has a long history, revitalized in 2015 under then City Manager Ed Zerker to expand opportunities for employees. But PHN's impact extends well beyond City Hall.
The Phoenix Hispanic Network is really focused on community growth. Without our community, we aren't Phoenix, so really just giving back.
That commitment includes scholarships for high school seniors, helping the next generation pursue their education.
The Community Engagement Scholarship is one of those scholarships that we do offer to our high school seniors. Phoenix Hispanic Network is really focused on community growth. Without our community, we aren't Phoenix, so really just giving back.
For Gutierrez, the goals are simple: grow membership, expand resources, and create a stronger community.
We're all about growing our employees, just helping them and providing whatever resources we can. I just really want to encourage employees to feel comfortable to reach out to us if they're interested or just have any curiosity.
During Hispanic Heritage Month and all year long, the Phoenix Hispanic Network continues building bridges for employees and the communities they serve.
We all want to get to our destination safely, so be aware of everything happening around you whenever walking, riding, or rolling along our streets. Most pedestrian and bike crashes happen when drivers are turning. Scan the street for wheels and feet when turning or entering intersections.
El mes de la herencia hispana es un momento para honrar la cultura, celebrar la comunidad y destacar a las personas que marcan la diferencia en la ciudad de Phoenix. Uno de esos grupos es la Red Hispana de Phoenix, un grupo de recursos para empleados enfocado en ayudar al personal municipal a crecer, conectar y liderar.
PHN es un grupo con la ciudad de Phoenix que apoya las carreras profesionales para la ciudad de Phoenix.
Gisela González, analista de investigación de la Policía de Phoenix, es la presidenta de PHN. Ella afirma que ayudar al grupo también la ha ayudado a crecer profesionalmente.
Lo que más me ha gustado siendo miembro de PHN es la oportunidad de ayudar a otros empleados con la ciudad de Phoenix con sus carreras profesionales y me ha dado oportunidades para mí personalmente con mi carrera también.
La red tiene una larga trayectoria, revitalizada en 2015 bajo la dirección del entonces administrador municipal.
En 2015, nuestro exgerente Ed Zerker quería revivir los grupos de empleados con la ciudad de Phoenix y PHN era uno de esos grupos. Y desde ese año hemos apoyado a los empleados con eventos como conferencias y seminarios.
Para Gisela, el objetivo es simple: ayudar y ampliar los recursos y crear una comunidad más fuerte.
Una de las cosas que soy muy orgullosa de con PHN es los recursos que hemos creado para el uso de los empleados de la ciudad de Phoenix.
Durante el mes de la herencia hispana y durante todo el año, la Red Hispana de Phoenix continúa construyendo puentes entre los empleados y la comunidad a la que sirven.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's official, Phoenix is on the clock, 226 days until tip-off.
Today was the official kickoff of the countdown clock at Sky Harbor Airport, marking 226 days until tip-off for the 2026 Women's Final Four.
This is the first time we've ever hosted the Women's Final Four. We're really looking forward to April, where we will welcome fans from all over the world to see the best in women's college basketball.
It is going to be an amazing party and campus in downtown Phoenix. What's really interesting about this event is all of the extra events are free. So it's family friendly. It'll be throughout the weekend. It's a holiday weekend with Easter. And so we'll be able to see families from around the state and around the city come down and enjoy the Women's Final Four.
We have 4 Division I programs here in Arizona. So this community is more than ready to embrace the Women's Final Four when it takes center stage. It's going to be the best setting for the Women's Final Four. For young fans, for players, for coaches, for families, they get to create lifelong memories on one of the biggest stages in sports.
Really, there's nothing like the excitement of March Madness. Women's basketball is on the rise. As someone who played basketball, I too was one of those that envisioned it being at the pedestal that it is today. Yes, they drive tourism. Yes, they drive economic development. But they really give us, our state, our city, an opportunity on the national and global scale to have exposure.
The NCAA has been wonderful about partnering with our Parks Department.
They did renovations and projects such as East Lake Park, got to see new basketball courts and redesign of their facilities. And I am just excited to see how it all comes to fruition in 226 days.
Phoenix is a basketball town. We are also Championship Valley. We have welcomed the NCAA, Super Bowls, great soccer. This is the place to host championship events.
There is no greater place than Phoenix in April because the weather is amazing and we are coming off of spring training, so just get ready to have amazing weather, good sports, and good food out in Phoenix.
So for the next 226 days, this clock will not only serve as a reminder of the women's Final Four for the millions of travelers that come through beautiful Sky Harbor Airport, it's also a point of pride for all of us here in the community.
You'll see that we are excited about the NCAA Final Four. The women are going to be really proud of the event we put on.
We all want to get to our destination safely, so be aware of everything happening around you whenever walking, riding, or rolling along our streets. Most pedestrian and bike crashes happen when drivers are turning. Scan the street for wheels and feet when turning or entering intersections.
Lifetime Achievement Award. Okay, that's taking me back a little bit. Okay. I don't think anyone in the nonprofit world does this for accolades. We do it because of our mission and what we're trying to do for the community. I got involved with the Foundation for Blind Children when my son was born. Max was 3 months when his doctor said something's wrong with his eyes, and the last thing the doctor told us to do was to call the Foundation for Blind Children. We called them and they showed up on our doorstep the next day, and from that moment on we were a part of Foundation for Blind Children. My wife and I got on the board. Once I was on the board, our CEO retired, and I looked at my wife and I said, I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I sold my company and came to work here, and that was 17 years ago. We built this into the largest Braille library in the country. We built this in the largest preschool in the country. We serve blind and visually impaired people of all ages from the day they're born to the day they leave us. Our oldest client right now is 101 years old. We are overcoming major chronic problems. We didn't have enough teachers, so we built a teachers program with ASU. We didn't have a low vision clinic, so we built a low vision clinic. We needed more classroom space, so we built a new school. Whatever the obstacle is, we will overcome it, and that's what we teach our students. Vision loss is not the end of the world. It's just a different world. The Foundation for Blind Children really gives parents that hope and give those students, those children that hope that they can do anything. And we've proven it over and over again. They do everything. We took 8 blind students to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro, 19,340 feet. We set 4 world records. We had the largest blind group ever. We had the first blinded US vet to reach the top, first person with albinism to reach the top, and my son was the youngest blind climber ever to reach the top, and still is. That's my favorite part about my job. I get to tell the story over and over and over again, and it inspires people to do bigger and better things. I love the Foundation for Blind Children. I love our students. I love our families. I truly believe that doing right for them completes me, makes me who I am. When the mayor's office recognizes you for what we do every day, it's pretty special. I know that over my lifetime I've done some special things. I've seen some kids do some special things. I've led some kids in the top of mountains, across oceans, and I didn't do it for the accolades, but I did it for the kids. But it's always nice when the mayor recognizes you.
En Phoenix, 2 líderes empresariales hispanas están rompiendo barreras, una guiando a emprendedores a través del sistema legal y la otra ayudando a la ciudad y a las empresas a comunicarse con las comunidades latinas de la manera correcta. Ayensa Millán ha construido su carrera en torno a ayudar a otros a alcanzar el sueño americano. Como abogada de inmigración y de lesiones personales en Phoenix, trabaja con emprendedores de todo el mundo que desean invertir y crecer aquí.
Tenemos negocios que tienen el interés no solamente de venir a este país, pero específicamente a esta ciudad por las oportunidades que se ofrecen.
Millán ve reflejada su propia historia en la de sus clientes. Muchos de ellos llegan con un poco más que determinación y un sueño.
Estos inmigrantes vienen con un sueño. No saben cómo van a cumplir ese sueño, no tienen las oportunidades, no tienen los recursos, pero tienen la convicción, tienen esa habilidad de trabajar duro y de seguir adelante porque saben que tienen oportunidades en este país que no van a tener en ningún otro país.
Ella afirma que la resiliencia define a las personas a las que ayuda, hombres y mujeres trabajadores que ven los desafíos como escalones hacia adelante.
Tienen la convicción, tienen esa habilidad de trabajar duro y de seguir adelante porque saben que tienen oportunidades en este país que no van a tener en ningún otro país. Y por eso siguen, y eso es lo que los hace, esa resiliencia es lo que los hace que tengan éxito y que puedan desarrollar recursos.
Para Millán, los momentos más gratificantes llegan cuando sus clientes finalmente pueden visualizar su camino hacia el futuro.
Tengo la habilidad de ayudar, de ver cómo ellos me miran a mí como si yo les hubiera proveído una oportunidad inalcanzable. Y miro la gratitud en sus ojos.
Dice que sus logros fortalecen a Phoenix trayendo nuevos negocios, empleos e inversiones a la comunidad.
Y estas personas, en cambio, lo que hacen es ayudar a otra gente. Se involucran en la comunidad, crecen negocios, pagan impuestos, ellos se encargan de otra gente, tienen empleados y vienen con ese sueño no solamente para ayudar a la comunidad hispana, pero ayudar a toda nuestra comunidad.
Esa misma misión, crear oportunidades y crear puentes entre comunidades, es lo que impulsa a María Rabago. Después de 15 años como periodista, dio un giro hacia el emprendimiento y fundó María Rabago Productions, una agencia de marketing enfocada en la cultura y la comunicación.
No hacemos las cosas de manera tradicional, hacemos las cosas de una manera muy orgánica para conectar desde la cuestión emocional, desde la cuestión de experiencia y vivencias.
Su trabajo de consultoría con la ciudad de Phoenix se ha centrado en ayudar a los líderes a relacionarse mejor con los residentes latinos, no solo a través del idioma, sino también mediante la comprensión cultural.
Conozco no solamente el idioma, sino la cultura de ellos.
Rabago afirma que el éxito significa más que dirigir un negocio. Se trata de abrir puertas para los demás. Ella ve el creciente apoyo de Phoenix a las pequeñas empresas como una oportunidad para integrar aún más emprendedores latinos.
Creo yo que la necesidad está en la educación. Para que crezca tu negocio, como dueño de negocio tienes que educarte, constantemente evolucionar y educarte. Y la ciudad de Phoenix es un ejemplo perfecto porque ofrece tantos diferentes programas de asistencia, de apoyo a los pequeños negocios como el mío.
Para Millán y Rabago, el éxito no es solo personal. Se trata de ayudar a otros a escribir sus propias historias, construir negocios, crear empleos y dar forma al futuro de Phoenix.
Checkmate.
Good info is a good thing. The Broadway Curve project is in the works. Prepare for lane closures and detours. Stay ahead of the curve at i10broadwaycurve.com.
Up until 1889, the majority of the water that was used by Phoenicians came from the actual original canal that went through town. In 1889, a man named John Gardner started the first city waterworks, which is where we're standing today. Water was delivered to this very spot at Verde Park by a redwood tunnel that extended for 30 miles to the east and the northeast. Part of the city waterworks in 1938 was this pump house. It was built with the intention of being an emergency pump house. Water has always been an important element of thriving in the Valley of the Sun. This pump house represents one of the few remaining structures that show how that water was transported in the early 20th century. And it's a wonderful piece of architecture here in the southwest corner of the Garfield Historic District that we can all continue to enjoy here at Verde Park.
Welcome to the Cesar Chavez Community Center, the City of Phoenix's newest recreation center here in the beautiful Levine Village. Come, I'll take you around. Over here, you will see the Cesar Chavez timeline. It's a great piece of work. As soon as you walk into the facility, you can see all the impact that Cesar Chavez has had in Arizona, and it's for you guys to see when you guys arrive. This here is our lovely gymnasium. It has basketball capacity, volleyball, pickleball. We have wonderful courts that are meant for youth and adult spaces. And this is also included in your membership when you register at phoenix.gov or at our front desk. Welcome to our multi-purpose room. This room is designed to have special events, meetings, take classes. It seats anywhere between 80 to 100 people and is reservable. This is our beautiful courtyard, along with lawn games where families can come and enjoy the beautiful Arizona weather. This space is also available to reserve for special occasions and special gatherings. And this is our beautiful teaching style kitchen that we have here at the Cesar Chavez Community Center. It is designed to teach classes here in our community. So if you're interested in cooking 101 or maybe baking, this might be a good class for you to come and take. We have stoves, refrigerators, microwaves, and I know this will be a great place for you to come and enjoy and learn to cook. And this is our wonderful game room space where it's designed for youth and adults to come hang out and engage in a friendly game of pool table, hockey, or foosball. This is also a great space for parents to come hang out while their children are taking classes here at our lovely community center. This is one of the amenities that is included in your membership here at the Cesar Chavez Community Center. And this is our beautiful upstairs fitness center that is designed with cardio machines, free weights, weight machines, and
Good morning and welcome to the September 17th, 2025 Transportation Infrastructure and Planning Subcommittee meeting. I call the meeting to order, and with that, we'll have the City Attorney explain public comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the public may speak for up to 2 minutes to comment on agenda items to be discussed. Comments must be related to the agenda item and the action being considered by the subcommittee. The City Council and staff cannot discuss or comment on matters related to pending investigations, claims, or litigation. Additionally, any member of the public who appears before the subcommittee in their capacity as a lobbyist must, as required by Phoenix City Code, disclose this fact before addressing the subcommittee. The City Code requires speakers to present their comments in a respectful and courteous manner. Profane language, threats, or personal attacks on members of the public, council members, or staff are not allowed. Speakers should not act in a disrespectful manner that is openly hostile to others. A person who violates these rules may lose their opportunity to continue to speak.
Thank you, and I'd like to introduce our interpreter, Elsie Duarte.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Elsie Duarte. I will be providing Spanish interpretation for today's Transportation Infrastructure and Planning Subcommittee meeting. I will now take a moment to address our Spanish-speaking audience. Buenos días, mi nombre es Elsie Duarte. Estaré interpretándoles a nuestra audiencia de habla hispana durante esta sesión del Subcomité de Transporte, Infraestructura y Planificación. Para escuchar la reunión en español, favor de pasar por unos audífonos ubicados a la entrada de la sala de cámaras. Las personas que pasen al frente para hacer un comentario público podrán hablar libremente sin interrupciones durante el tiempo disponible. Sus comentarios serán interpretados al momento de que usted termine de hablar. Gracias. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Elsie. Next, we move to item 1, which is approval of minutes. Do I have a motion or any comments? May I have a motion then?
A motion to
Have a I think they are. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you. Motion carries. Next, we have a info item, which is our bus rapid transit program update. Is there any comments on that? Or all right, then we'll move to item 3, which is the show for today, our Shade Phoenix Plan Progress Report. And I turn first to Amber. I don't know if you have any opening remarks.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. Today we have Director David Hondulo from our Office of Heat Response and Mitigation to do the presentation.
Thank you and welcome, David.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, members of the subcommittee. It's an honor to be here to represent the work of so many city departments and external partners and provide you a progress report 1 year after the adoption of the Shade Phoenix Plan. As we begin, I'd like to acknowledge and appreciate the work done by city staff across many departments and our community partners whose effort and commitment to making our community healthier and cooler is reflected in this progress report. I'd like to give a special thanks to representatives from city departments who provided the data and information that helped bring this report together, and certainly to my teammates in the Heat Office, especially Julia, Kayla, Laura, Mary, and Nina, who are here with me today, who helped pull the whole report together. Thank you all very much. We are here today to update you and the public on the progress made 1 year after the adoption of the Shade Phoenix Plan, provide an evaluation of where we are versus where we plan to be, and to identify priorities for next year. After hearing your feedback and questions today, we'll post a final professionally designed version of the report online for public consumption over the next few weeks. To refresh your memory, we'd like to thank you, council members and subcommittee members, for your support in unanimously adopting the Shade Phoenix Plan last November. The Shade Phoenix Plan we consider to be a public health plan. It sets a policy foundation for citywide tree and shade initiatives that we hope will improve heat resilience, improve quality of life, and help keep our residents cool and safe. The work in the Shade Phoenix Plan represents more than $60 million of committed funding that was to be spent over the 5-year period ending July 2029, and that's a combination of funding sources including general fund, capital, bond, and grants. The Shade Phoenix Plan was built around 6 core values that guide the implementation of the actions contained in it. The first core value is to focus on people first, targeting our actions where shade can be most beneficial to health and well-being. The plan also establishes shade as a critical resource provided by both public and private assets. It acknowledges that we do have inequities in tree and shade coverage in our city and directs staff to address them. It suggests that we need to respect the unique landscape and cultural heritage of the Sonoran Desert. It encourages us to collaborate within and beyond city government, especially with our residents and neighborhoods, to accelerate our collective action. And we're motivated by the plan to go beyond the status quo by being innovative and taking risks to change our past trajectory to realize the plan's overall vision. There were 36 actions in the plan that we adopted last November, categorized into 4 broad strategy areas. The first was to create more shade, expanding shade on both public and private property. The second is to maintain what we have. The third, to evaluate what we're doing and to institutionalize our new programs to make them a core part of city government and our community work. And fourth, to educate and empower the community so that all residents appreciate and value tree and shade assets. With that brief refresher of what was in the plan, let's move on to the evaluation story. How did we do over the first year of implementation, the first year reflecting work from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025? Here are the 4 strategy areas in that plan, along with the total number of actions in each strategy area, 36 actions again in total. Our staff collected data from across many city departments and community partners, and we categorized each action into one of 3 categories. The best outcome was milestone met. Those are actions where we fully met or even exceeded the year 1 milestone, and there were many actions that we exceeded the year 1 milestone. Our second category was those actions where we were making good progress as a city but didn't quite hit that year 1 milestone. We call those actions making progress. And the third category, facing obstacles. That was reserved for actions that were facing significant risks to their completion over the 5-year time period of the Shade Phoenix plan. How did we do? We identified 31 of the 36 actions in the milestone met category, fully meeting or exceeding the year 1 milestone, and 5 actions were considered as making progress where we didn't quite hit that year 1 milestone, but we're still on a good track to their overall completion. You'll note that no actions were identified in that third category, facing obstacles. Today, we believe that all 36 actions are on track to have to be fully implemented over the 5-year time horizon of the plan. What did those numbers mean in terms of community impact? Here are just a few summary metrics across all of the actions in the plan. More than 7,200 trees planted through city programs last year. That's the largest number that we have on record as a heat office. I also want to acknowledge that there is work that needs to be done every year to remove trees that have died from natural causes, perhaps are damaged in the city. After accounting for tree removals, our net addition of trees in the city was more than 5,500 last year. Across all city departments and with some community partners, we built 155 new shade structures citywide last year. Our total estimated investment in Shade Phoenix actions was approximately $16 million. New shade was added at 78 schools in the city through a few different programs. More than 130 staff members participated in some type of formal training program connected to the Shade Phoenix plan. And at least 4,000 residents were engaged in one of the actions, perhaps contributing input to the development of a neighborhood plan from our partners at ASU, or perhaps directly participating in one of our grant programs. We want to help bring, for you subcommittee members, we want to help bring those metrics to life by sharing a few highlights from individual actions in the plan. We're going to share 6 actions, one representing each of the plan's 6 core values. And of course, there are many, many more highlights than we have time to share today, including work that's happening right now in the city from field staff who are out planting trees, maintaining shade structures, and so much more. We'd like to highlight for you the Canopy for Kids program, which planted more than 1,200 trees at 56 school campuses in the reporting period, exceeding the target milestone of 1,000 trees. This action exemplifies the plan's core value of focusing on people first by targeting our actions where shade can have the greatest impact on human health and well-being, especially for vulnerable populations like children. Canopy for Kids was funded at your direction by the American Rescue Plan Act and also with a grant from the Inflation Reduction Act. One of the students who was at a school that benefited the program said, "It's hard to get green space in the desert, so it's great to be at a school that prioritizes this for me and my teachers." This program helped the city earn the 2024 Ponderosa Pine Partnership Award through the Arizona Department of Forestry and Fire Management for outstanding urban forestry projects in Arizona. And one of our participating grantees, Paideia Academies, also won an award from the Arizona Department of Forestry and Fire Management, the 2024 Palo Verde Award for Urban Forestry Enhancement. The Public Transit Department exceeded its annual goal to add shade structures to 80 bus stops, installing 81 in the reporting period. This action showcases our core value of recognizing shade as a critical resource, as it's an ongoing core program that's adding built shade throughout the city as part of our transportation system. This action is funded by the Public Transportation 2050 Fund, also known as T2050. And public transit reports, and I find this so impressive, that we continue to be on track to have shade at every bus stop in the city where it's feasible to do so by 2030.
I almost called you mayor, sorry, councilwoman, chairwoman. So David, the pictures that you showed there showed captain's chairs instead of benches. I do think it makes a lot of sense, obviously, to have shade at the bus stop so people aren't sitting out in the bus, out in the sun. But it also doesn't make sense if people are going to use those as effectively homeless encampments, which I see quite frequently when I go around the city. Republic did a big article about it and so forth. So in District 2, we've taken out a lot of the captain's chairs for that very reason, so that people who are going to actually use the bus and not just live in the shade are able to use it, frankly. Is that the model? So the 80, they're all captain's chairs, not benches. Is that correct?
Councilman Waring, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, I would ask that we have our representative who's here, Assistant Public Transit Director Juanita Carver, come to the table so she can answer that question.
I'm not trying to be mean to anybody who's, I guess, seeking shelter, but the bus stops are not shelter because then that deters people who actually need to use the bus from using the bus stop and the shelter that we are constructing for them in the first place. So it's not an academic exercise, this question.
Councilman Waring, members of the committee, yes, the new chairs are chairs. We're not putting in the benches at this time.
Thank you. I like it. Simple, easy to understand.
Thank
a refreshing change of pace at these meetings.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman Waring. Moving on to a third highlight action, the Community Canopy Program. This program planted more than 1,900 trees at more than 1,000 homes throughout Phoenix, exceeding the year one milestone to plant 1,000. This action focuses investment in neighborhoods with low tree canopy coverage, addressing the plan's core value to address inequities. Community Canopy was funded at your direction by the American Rescue Plan Act, as well as with grant funding from the Inflation Reduction Act. And I'd like to read a testimonial from one of the beneficiaries of this program. A resident said, "We're looking forward to the shade these trees will provide. The trees are healthy and the whole planting process was very efficient. We're really hoping our neighborhood gets more funding. We have kids, so shade is very important. And my husband happens to be the mailman for our neighborhood, and he can attest how crucial shade is. Big thank you from your mailman." In March 2025, this grant program, along with Canopy for Kids, was awarded the Award of Distinction for Climate Action Solutions from Arizona Forward. City staff from multiple departments have made substantive progress toward our goal of updating the city's plant species guidance. The first-year milestone to analyze existing tree species guidance used operationally by city departments and from our external partners was met. We need to ensure compatibility between our municipal tree species selection and the local environment, and this recognizes the plan's core value to respect the landscape of the Sonoran Desert. On this slide, you can see just some of the factors that inform our strategy, inform our selection process for picking particular tree species. Green stormwater infrastructure involves the use of plant and soil systems to manage water flow into the public storm drain system or across surfaces. And you can see some illustrations of what this infrastructure looks like on the slide. These photos are from the expansion to the parking lot at the Phoenix Zoo. And you can see cuts in the curb that allow water to flow into some of the landscaped areas. Green stormwater infrastructure, or GSI, is an important tool for creating landscapes that can more sustainably support healthy urban trees and vegetation. This action highlights our plan's core value to collaborate within and beyond city government. For several years, our city has been focused on building our internal capacity for GSI, and that work continued again last year with leadership from planning and development. 93 city employees participated in a GSI training activity last year, and a cross-department GSI working group met quarterly. Last and certainly not least, we'd like to highlight the Sombra project led by the Office of Arts and Culture. This action exemplifies our plan's core value to go beyond the status quo by being innovative and taking risks. The Sombra project met its milestone to select winners of a public art challenge and install temporary shade structures in public spaces as part of an innovative design competition integrating public art and shade. 9 unique temporary art installations have been in place in public parks throughout the summer, integrating innovative materials and processes, creative themes, and creative community engagement activities. This action was funded by the Bloomberg Philanthropies Public Art Challenge, and if you haven't, or if any members of the public haven't had the chance to see these yet, they'll still be up for a few more weeks. We'd also like to talk with you subcommittee members about our priorities moving forward. An immediate priority for the next year is to ensure that those 5 actions that didn't fully meet their reporting milestone are accelerated to be back on track. And to refresh your memory, no significant obstacles were encountered that jeopardized their completion in the overall framework of the Shade Phoenix plan. And our assessment is that factors that contributed to their slower progress than anticipated included limitations on staff capacity and delays in hiring timelines and contracting. And we'd like to go with each of those, through each of those actions with you one by one. One action was to develop a consistent tree and shade maintenance protocol to be used citywide. Over the last year, we have gathered and analyzed the current maintenance protocol from city departments. We're also looking forward to additional data coming in that will inform this conversation from the ongoing tree inventory. We anticipated that we would have a pilot program created by this time to strengthen enforcement of the city's tree code. And we are not there yet, but we're bringing on additional capacity with a grant-funded position that will be posted in the very near future. We're very much looking forward to the city's new tree inventory being completed. As of the end of June, approximately 22,000 trees in the city had been inventoried. We're also working on a complementary shade structure inventory. We've brought together nearly all of the relevant data sets to populate that new resource. We are working to develop a public shade fund that can be used as part of the planning and development process. We have some additional stakeholder discussions forthcoming that we weren't able to accomplish as anticipated in the first year. And finally, we are very excited about our new Tree Steward program. This is grant-funded work that will hire and train 10 community leaders to advance urban forestry initiatives in low tree canopy cover neighborhoods. Our goal was to have this program up and running at the end of June, and we are just a few weeks behind in getting the contract signed, but it is now signed, and we are back on track to have our tree stewards hired and trained this fall in partnership with the Arizona Sustainability Alliance. We'd also like to describe subcommittee members that we see a really important priority for the second year as focusing on all of the actions in the plan that pertain to tree and shade management and maintenance. This is so important because as the pace of tree planting and shade structure installation accelerates, we need to ensure that our management and maintenance practices are optimized to ensure we get a good return on our investment. This can be a challenge in the city of Phoenix that has a vast geographic footprint of more than 500 square miles, as well as distributed responsibilities across many city departments, some of whom work with contractors. We have different climate and landscape types throughout the city and other factors that make this a particular challenge, but we think we can make meaningful progress this year. And in fact, we are already making progress. The tree inventory that's underway includes assessment of the health of each publicly owned and managed tree in the city. This is going to provide critical data to inform how we can improve our management practices, knowing where we're falling short and what's going well. City departments have also made big strides in recent years, increasing our maintenance schedules, imposing new accountability measures with our contractors, and increasing staff capacity, including through some of the actions we described earlier. I also think it's fair to say, subcommittee members, that our staff and our residents continue to seek better overall outcomes. We want to keep improving our management and maintenance. And we have some recent confirmation that we do have more work to do as a city to improve our management and maintenance. I suspect you might agree with me that In our recent storms at the end of August and early September, we saw more tree losses throughout the city than we would have liked. City staff do have a good understanding of what the challenges are that hurt our trees' ability to withstand storms and a wide range of other environmental stressors. Some of those challenges exist even before we put a tree in the ground, and you can see some of those factors on the slide here, or they occur when we are putting a tree in the ground, like a poor planting technique or selection of an individual product with poor quality. Other issues develop over time with our management and maintenance practices, including watering schedules and pruning techniques. As referenced before, a detailed health assessment of our urban forest is underway right now as part of the tree inventory process. This will enable us to know quantitatively how common each of these various issues are and how those patterns vary throughout the city. This will empower us to have a more systematic approach to remedying those issues over time. To wrap up, we wanted to share with you, subcommittee members, and the public some of the upcoming events related to Shade Phoenix Plan actions. Coming up on September 20th, this Saturday, the celebration of shade, the culmination of the Somber Project at Steele Indian School Park. This will be from 6 to 9 p.m. You and the public are all encouraged and invited to attend. We'll get to engage with the artists and other leaders involved in this project. The sidewalk shade installations that you helped fund through the American Rescue Plan Act are going to start going in the ground this fall. You can see one of the prototypes that our staff had the chance to visit just a couple of weeks ago there, and we are expecting construction to begin over the next several weeks. And our calendar is getting busy in the heat office, getting ready for the kickoff of the planting season. Our first community canopy neighborhood planting event will be on October 4th, and will be throughout the city, essentially every weekend through the fall, supporting neighborhood tree planting events. With that, subcommittee members, we are looking forward to your questions and guidance as we continue to implement the plan. Thank you for the time today.
Thank you. Very good presentation. And I do appreciate you talking about the maintenance. It's one of the sad things to see after a storm are all the trees that are torn apart. And so I appreciate that you guys are really doing the deep analysis of how to protect those trees that we plant. Just a quick question. I know, and I'm sure other districts, we have people that donate trees to us. Are you keeping tabs on that as well with the inventory? Or is that something we should be reporting to you?
Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee, thank you for the question. We are working very closely with Parks and the other departments that will play a role in managing the inventory to think about the workflow there. We want to be sure that volunteer-led tree plantings and other types of community efforts are reflected in the inventory. So let's please stay in contact and we can figure out how to ensure that those trees are captured in the new inventory. We want to be able to showcase all of that great work.
Great, because I have a couple events coming up that are being donated and planted in our parks. And then my next question is, we have an Adopt a Street program. Is there some way through that program we can incorporate protection of trees after storms? I don't know if that's something that's probably a street transportation question for Brianna. I'm just curious if that's part of the Adopt a Street program. The last storm we had, I had so many trees on 7th Street that were knocked over that had recently been planted, and it was kind of sad to see.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee. So our Adopt a Street program really reflects cleanups on a particular street. So it's focused on cleaning up trash and debris within a specific section of a roadway. But I think that's a great idea. That's something that we can take back to the team and see if there are opportunities to evaluate. I think one of the issues sometimes that we see is there might be some vandalism related to some of our irrigation systems. I think with our new 5 contractors, that's one of the things that we're going to make sure they're heavily focused on is when they're out there providing maintenance, they're checking the irrigation systems for that, so we make sure they're getting the necessary water. But I think that's a great idea that we could take back to the team to see if there's something we could incorporate.
I appreciate you looking into it. I know we're going to have tree stewards, but there must be some kind of overlap that we should be looking at. So I appreciate that. And Councilwoman Hodge Washington is now joined us via WebEx. And so I turn to the members of the committee if anyone has any questions or additional comments. I'm shocked that Councilman Waring doesn't have something to say.
I already had a question. Got my answer.
Yes, Councilwoman Hodge Washington.
Thank you so much, Chair. My apologies for being a little tardy. I had another meeting run over. But I wanted to first talk the kudos of the Shade and Tree Plan. It's definitely a popular popular program as we address some of the heat effects that we see here in Phoenix. I note that one of the comments of support actually came to one who addressed whose address was in District 8. I wanted to talk a little bit about large parts of my district are not currently eligible for the community canopy program. I'm curious, are there any steps being taken to expand eligibility so that residents across all neighborhoods can access free or subsidized trees?
Councilwoman Hodge Washington, Madam Chair, and members of the subcommittee, thank you for the question. To refresh the subcommittee's memory and the listening public, the Community Canopy Program is currently funded by the Inflation Reduction Act and a grant, an urban and community forestry grant through the U.S. Forest Service. As part of the terms of the grant agreement and as part of the funding priorities from the grant, funding can be allocated into neighborhoods that are identified as disadvantaged through a federal government tool called CJEST, Environmental Disparities Tool. That currently restricts where we are able to implement the program to remain compliant with the grant. We think there is a lot of enthusiasm in the community to expand this program, and that's a conversation we'd love to have with you, Councilwoman, and your colleagues to think about what that path forward might look like.
And thank you for the background. I was aware of the funding source for the current program. I guess what I'm hearing is that you're open to, there is no current steps, but you're open to the possibility of discussion how we can expand this.
Absolutely, Councilwoman. Thank you.
And then similarly, I presume the answer is that you're open to discussing how we can ensure of a program where each district has a pathway for increased shade regardless of the income designation, and for neighborhoods who are not eligible currently for the community canopy. Because we do believe that all communities can benefit. I do believe that all communities can benefit from shade investment. So thank you.
Councilwoman, yes, absolutely. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other questions? Yes, comments from Councilman Robinson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. David, early in your presentation, you thanked everyone in your staff that had a lot to do, obviously, who carried the bulk of the work, but I want to thank you for doing that. I think that it's important for us to recognize the folks who are really doing the work. So I appreciate you having done that, and thanks to you guys. I saw you doing all. So I appreciate that, and we're going to be looking for ways to do some things in District 6, and we'll be reaching out to your guys. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments? Well, thank you so much for the presentation and all the work you do. Living in the desert, shade is very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Next, we have a call to the public. I turn to our city attorney for additional comments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. During citizen comment, members of the public may address the subcommittee for up to 3 minutes on issues of interest or concern to them. The issues being addressed, however, must be on subject matters that fall within the jurisdiction of the Phoenix City Council and upon which the Phoenix City Council has the power to act. The Arizona Open Meeting Law permits the subcommittee members to listen to the comments, but prohibits members from discussing or acting on the matters presented.
Thank you. We have 2 speakers today. First is Jerry Van Gass. Welcome, Jerry.
Thanks, Councilwoman Stark. I just wanted to welcome our 2 alumni that have been here on this committee before, and it's nice to see them here again. You know, it would be really nice to see, I mean, our coalition is going to we're transparent. We'll be here watching out for 3PI at every meeting, as we have been for 10 years now. But, you know, at the same time, we'd love to see management from the Parks Department showing up at some of these meetings. It's a rarity anymore. The June 18th minutes you just read, they weren't at that meeting. They had no agenda items. They have no agenda items on any of the council meetings over the last couple months. You know, I know it was convenient for them during the pandemic to not be face to face with constituents, but that's long gone. There's issues out there, big issues, that they don't want to address. And our attorneys at the Center for Law and the Public Interest said as long as they keep refraining from showing up or having agenda items, they're going to keep filing record requests. And if they're not responded to, they'll follow up with a suit. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I do believe that we have staff from the Parks Department here. They're waving. Next speaker is Tim Sierakowski. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. It's interesting that nothing really gets done. For example, we have brought up a number of times the dumping in South Mountain, and I'm trying to figure out, did anyone here do anything about it? Did anyone question the Parks Department about it? Did they ask about it? Did anyone in the subcommittee ask about the bridge to nowhere in Piestoa? Anyone ask about what's going on over there? Did anyone go to the Parks Department and say, hey, look, we've had complaints about this, what's going on over there? Did anyone in the subcommittee ask about a house that was purchased that you probably don't even know about through the Parks Department, but no one knows about it because there's no communication? I'm just trying to figure out any longer what's going on, because we need to have, first of all, more transparency, because our record requests, consequently, it takes a year, 8 months before we get record requests, and it's all crap record requests. They just keep multiplying the same thing over and over again and going, oh, here you go. This is what you requested, and it's not what we requested. So I think the subcommittee should look at what's really going on here and address some of these problems that we're having, because if we're having these problems, other people are having the same types of problems. And I want to also address everyone talking about, you know, making sure the trees are planted and making sure that there's watering systems and taking care of our trees. How many trees died last year in Phoenix? How many trees died in South Mountain all the trees that were planted going into South Mountain, they all died because the water system didn't work? How many trees died in Hance Park because they didn't water the trees? Did anyone address those problems? Because it's costing the people of the city of Phoenix money, and it's their money. And we need to start addressing how you're spending money and making sure that all these different projects are taken care of. Because you can have all these projects, but if you don't have any maintenance to make sure these projects are taken care of, you're wasting people's money. This is a business. This is like a corporation. You're supposed to be checking and making sure all this stuff is done. It's your duty and it's your job. I'd like to see you start doing it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. That's all we have for call to public. So future agenda items, is there anything the members of the committee wish to see in the future? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you.
As part of our food action plan, lots of folks talk to us about food waste.
Food waste is one of those areas people don't really realize, but as it relates to sustainability, for example, is an area where a family can have the most impact for really the sort of least change in their life. They can save a lot of money and they end up almost by default eating more healthfully.
So we came up with, in partnership with Arizona State University,